Alright guys, so welcome to the complete beginner's guide on how to dropship on Etsy. Now this is going to be one of the best videos that you'll literally ever watch if you're serious about, dropshipping on Etsy and making money online in 2025. And yes, I do know that sounds like a massive claim, but the past 3 months, my team and I have literally spent every single day and building this series exactly for you guys for free. We've filmed, edited, and literally done everything for this series. It's not a bunch of just fluff. It's not a bunch of bullshit. This is actually real information that you can apply to your Etsy dropshipping store, which can take you from zero to your first 5 to 10K month if you're just starting out as a beginner. Personally, I've spent over $250,000 on coaching, mentorships, and ads itself, seeing what works, what doesn't work on Etsy, and I'm literally going to give you guys the full blueprint for free in this video. Now, why am I doing this? It's because, if I was to start all over again from zero, this is the comprehensive beginner's guide that my younger self would definitely look for. Now, look guys, I've literally tried every single business model that you can name of, Shopify dropshipping, affiliate marketing, SMMA, trading, crypto, much more. And I'm telling you guys, they just all burnt me and they're just definitely not beginner friendly. Like Etsy dropshipping is. It's probably the most lowest cost and lowest effort business model that I've personally seen. You don't need any prior experience with business. You don't need a lot of upfront capital. You don't need to be talking to, people or clients 24/7 like other agencies. And pretty much guys, we've literally taken everything that works from Etsy and distilled it into like a simple, repeatable system where other people can use it as well. So literally anyone can run it basically just from their laptop and make some money online. And it's not just a theory, right? I've helped dozens of people, quit their 9 to 5 or pursue their goal of becoming an athlete, all thanks to Etsy dropshipping. Take one of my clients, Leo, for example. He was working in just a regular 9 to 5, doing overnight shifts. And in the first 60 days of joining our program, he did $8,600 in a single month. And now he just gets to travel the world, work from his laptop whenever he wants. Or one of my clients, Kieran. So Kieran is a professional rugby player who only had 10 hours spare a week to work on his Etsy store, and he made $4,600 in his first month. And now he's moved to the US, pursuing his professional rugby dream, all because of Etsy dropshipping. And just like Clara. Now Clara was working at a cafe, barely scraping by, working long shifts, and she made $5,000 in her first month with zero previous experience or knowledge in e-commerce. Now, these aren't just exceptions. These are just normal people that took the first step, used our systems to build their Etsy store, and now they have the time, they have the location, and the financial freedom to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Now, enough talking. Let's just get straight into the video, guys. So pretty much, these are the key takeaways that you guys are gonna learn from this video. So how to constantly find winning products on Etsy, how to build your store the right way, how to get traffic without running any ads, so just organic, how to scale from 3, 5, even 10K a month while keeping your store compliant with the Etsy's policies. Now all of the mistakes to avoid that most beginners tend to make in the beginning, just like me. I made a lot of mistakes when I first started out on Etsy, so make sure to watch the whole video, guys. Now you've probably heard a lot of people say dropshipping is dead. It ended in 2017, whatever it may be. Dropshipping is not dead, it's just evolved. Every few years, the platform changes, the strategies change, but what doesn't change is the core model, and it's still one of the best ways to make money as a beginner in 2025. So personally, I've been involved with dropshipping for, multiple years. I've done TikTok dropshipping, Shopify, Amazon, Etsy as well. But what I've realized is pretty much all business models work. Some are just 10 times as easy to start and require little to no upfront capital. So let's dive into if traditional dropshipping on Shopify is still worth it. It's becoming super oversaturated. You need super expensive softwares, apps, development. You also need to pay for the Shopify plans, which costs a lot of money. And don't even get me started on ads. You're gonna have to test thousands of dollars worth of ads to begin with before finding a winning product. Don't even get me started about the competition. For example, you have competitors doing tens of thousands of dollars a day. You as a beginner, how the hell are you meant to keep up with that? So let's break it down simply. Dropshipping is a fulfillment method where you don't need any inventory. So you have a private supplier in China, and from China, it ships the product straight to the customer's address without you having to touch the product once. So no warehouse, no stock, you don't need any inventory, and you don't have that financial risk. You know, here's why Etsy dropshipping is so crazy right now in 2025. You don't need to spend, you know, thousands of dollars on ads on Meta, just like you do with Shopify. You don't need to worry about, you know, any account bans or, you know, violating ad policies like on Meta. You don't need to build a fancy website from scratch like you do have to do on Shopify. You know, you have to get a coding guy, you know, to build your whole store for you. You literally just get free traffic from Etsy's platform and you get sales in before you even start putting in money. And the main thing is the competition. Now, you know, on Etsy, it's just 40-year-old mums trying to sell their vases, trying to sell their home decor. The competition on Etsy is super easy. None of the mums have any business experience. It's super easy to outcompete them. Unlike on Shopify, you have big, massive brands doing millions of dollars a year. It's super hard to compete with them. All right, guys, so now you know a little bit more about how dropshipping works and the difference between Shopify dropshipping and Etsy dropshipping. Let's move on to the next module where I go into a little bit more detail on how the business model works on Etsy, you know, what products to list, and how you can get started in literally under 1 day. Now, the first thing I want to mention with Etsy, right, is the growth is pretty much just exponential. So it's going to be, you know, quite difficult to acquire your first couple of sales. After you start, you know, getting reviews from customers, you start getting more sales, you get more traction on the store, and then your listings will start shooting up to the top search of Etsy. After your listings, you know, start shooting to the top, more and more people will see it, more and more people will buy it, and therefore the growth of your store is just kind of just exponential. It just keeps going up and up. You know, you start getting multiple sales a day, 10 sales a day, and then it just compounds and compounds. And then, you know, after your store starts compounding, you can build multiple stores in that same niche and double down whatever is working for you. So if you follow everything in this video and stay consistent for, you know, at least 30 days, 100% with complete conviction, you guys will start making money. I'm not gonna sit here and say, you know, you guys are gonna make $10,000 in your first week. That's just not really realistic. But you know, even $1,000 on your first 30 days, that is absolutely possible. And we've seen it happen, you know, hundreds of times. And then, you know, before you know it, you're at your first, you know, 2K month, then your 5K month, then a 10K month, 20K month. It just keeps going, keeps growing, and it's exponential. So guys, here is what we're gonna cover throughout this whole video. So firstly, you have the Etsy account setup. So how to open your first Etsy store properly and the correct way, because if you don't open it the right way, you can run into a lot of issues. Store branding, so you know how to make a clean logo by using AI, and how to build out your store so it looks super professional and it doesn't look like a scam store. The correct product research methods, so you know how to find real winning products on Etsy by using our AI tools and our secret methods. So you have listing creation, so writing SEO optimized titles, descriptions, and setting up mockups that actually convert. Fulfillment systems, so how to automate shipping with a private supplier so you never have to touch a product. You also have marketing and ads, which, you know, if you're starting out, you don't really need to run ads. You can definitely run organic and still hit 10K a month. And you know, bonus tactics also, how to deal with taxes, you know, all the nitty-gritty stuff in the back end, etc. So, how to set up your Etsy account the right way. All right guys, so pretty much there are 4 ways to sell on Etsy, and I'm pretty much gonna break down all of them, you know, and obviously dropshipping is one of the 4 ways, and pretty much just explain why dropshipping literally wins and outcompetes the other 3 ways. So, first of all, you have print on demand. So POD, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before. It's pretty much where you get, you know, a t-shirt, you don't make the print in person, you do it all online. You know, it doesn't have to be on a t-shirt, it can be on a mug, it can be on a hoodie or whatever it may be. But the reality is, you know, it's super oversaturated on Etsy. You know, unless you're like a graphic designer or willing to fight, you know, a red ocean market, it's just not worth it in my opinion. So method 2 is digital products. I know a lot of people talk about digital products. It's amazing, you know, you keep almost 100% of your margins because, you know, if you're selling an info like a digital product on Etsy and if someone buys it, there's no fulfillment, so it's quite easy. However, the top winning niches on digital products, for example, wedding templates, you have Notion planners, budget spreadsheets, they're pretty much all just taken by the top sellers on Etsy, so it's just super hard to compete with them. Probably why I wouldn't recommend selling digital products. It can work amazing if your store starts picking up. Personally, I would just stick to, you know, the niches that we provide in our program, such as, you know, home decor or clothing, jewelry. They're much easier to sell. and less competition. So the third method is handmade products. This was pretty much Etsy's original model. So everyone on Etsy was selling handmade products to begin with. But if you're trying to build, true freedom, I just do not recommend handmade products. You're gonna make every single one from scratch by yourself. Can't scale without, getting burnt out. You're literally turning your life into like a factory, right? Who wants to do that? There's nothing wrong with handmade products. If you wanna run your own handmade product business, that's fine if you don't really want to scale. But it's more of a hobby than, a get rich quick thing. So yeah, I would pretty much stay away from handmade product. And obviously you have method 4, which is Etsy dropshipping. It's super low cost because you don't need to have any upfront capital or, any stock inventory. There's literally no saturation on the Etsy market for dropshipping, and you don't have to design anything yourself. So you're basically just selling winners already, like literally proven winners, and there's no having to design products yourself. You're pretty much just selling already proven winners, and you know that work, so it has the highest chance of succeeding. So guys, let's look at the top sellers on Etsy and pretty much how we can compete. So pretty much nearly all the top sellers on Etsy are doing one thing that might surprise you, but they're literally sourcing all of their products from China. So they're drop shipping. And they're reselling them at a massive markup on Etsy. And these stores, make millions and millions of dollars a month. And it's all literally done by this drop shipping method that we teach, that I know of. So the name is Caitlin Minimalist. So, let's click on one of their products. So this product looks really good. It says it's popular now. It's also Etsy's pick, as you can see here on the top left, which is really good. In demand, 2 people bought in the last 24 hours. And yeah, they're selling it for $38 Australian, which is quite cheap in my opinion. However, they obviously sourced this from China, and the cost of goods on this product is fairly cheap. I would say probably $2 to $3 max. All right guys, so let's get into the practical stuff of Etsy. Pretty much setting up your store and step by step setting up your Etsy seller account. Now, this is probably one of the easiest parts of the process, but you don't want to do it wrong because you want to make your store look legit for Etsy. You want to make it super clean, super professional. So a lot of people think that it's a real store and not just some like bot. So pretty much go onto etsy.com and then create an account. So you can see on my laptop here, etsy.com, enter, accept all cookies. And now you're on the Etsy page. So what you guys want to do is click on the top right, sign in, and then after you click on the top right, you'll see a button that says register, which is also on the top right. So you click register, and then now it takes you to create your account. So the registration is quite easy on Etsy. So you need an email that you want to use for your Etsy account. I recommend, make a new email. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. Just for one that you want to use for your business. For the name, typically you don't really have to, it doesn't really matter. But I like to do a woman's name because 80% of people that sell on Etsy are women, and a lot of women tend to buy from other women. So yeah, I'm just gonna put something like Susan, some random woman name, and then whatever your password you want to use that you won't forget. So yeah guys, pretty simple. Now you have an Etsy account. It's not a seller account, so don't get those mixed up. A seller account is where you can sell your stuff. This is pretty much just a buyer's account. So yeah, you can have a scroll through, they have a lot of cool stuff on Etsy, homemade stuff, dropship stuff. Pretty much the second step is you guys will be receiving an email. It's pretty much just a confirmation or verification email. After you verify your email, pretty much that's when we can get started. Now what you guys want to do is build your Etsy store pretty much like a real human, right? You don't want Etsy to mistake you for a bot. So if you go onto the top right hand corner, you can see your account here. Click that, Susan obviously, and then you can view your profile. So once you view your profile, you can edit public profile. This takes you to a page where you can edit your profile. Definitely add a profile picture, your gender, where you live, your city, your birthday. This is really important. You want to be putting your birthday in. So this is how your profile should be set up. So obviously you have a profile picture of Susan. You can just use some random image, or you can use your own image. AI generate you an image as well. And then obviously the city you're from, so Sydney, your birthday, and then about. I pretty much just use ChatGPT for pretty much everything for my business anyways. So you can just use that. And then favorite materials, it doesn't really matter. You can just put anything you want. and then save changes. So your changes have been saved, and this is your new profile. Now, the key thing with Etsy, right, is you really don't want to be looking like a bot, because Etsy will just ban your store straight away. They're quite strict on like store bans. So what you want to do before you make a seller account and transition from that, a buyer account to a seller account, is you want to be browsing the Etsy market. Just give it 15 minutes, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I like to just browse on the Etsy market before creating an Etsy seller account. Now, you can use this 15 minutes very wisely. You may as well do some product research when you're looking for some products, trying to find a good niche so you can sell in, so you don't have to waste some time. So I'm on the Etsy platform now. Maybe I want to be selling, home decor. So let's search up home decor. This is some products on Etsy that sell well on home decor. You want to be always skipping the first line, because these first lines are pretty much just advertisements. So they're not going to be the best selling products. But you can see here, these books are doing super well. This vase is popular at the moment. So you just want to be getting a feel for which products work well, what products to sell or not sell, looking at the description, pricing points for each product. So you can see here, this product is doing super well. It has an Etsy's Pick badge, which means it's doing very well. They're selling it for around $100 Australian, which is pretty normal for a vase. You want to also be clicking on their other listings as well. You can see a lot of listings here. Yeah, let's try clicking on the store. So the store is called Belhera. They have a star seller badge, which means they sell very well on Etsy. Everything looks super minimalistic, but super clean, super professional. You can see the background here is very nice. Their logo as well, they have a pretty nice logo. They've made 15,000 sales, which is a lot, and they've been selling on Etsy for 4 years. So if you go to their reviews section, you can kind of see and kind of have a feel of which products are selling the best. So I can see this product is selling quite well. So it's this one. I guess this is probably one of their main winning products. So guys, now you get a feel for, the Etsy platform. You know where everything is. You kind of see what products are selling well. Maybe you've even picked your niche in that 20 minutes. Now, what we want to do is open our Etsy seller account. The most exciting part. Now, what you want to be doing is you'll see on the top right-hand corner, your account. If you click on your account and then scroll down to sell on Etsy, that's how you create your Etsy seller account. Or what you can do is paste in www.etsy.com/sell, and it should take you to this page. So now you have this page, you want to click get started, and then it'll take you to this page. So welcome Susan, blah, blah, blah. You can skip all this. So yeah, recently with Etsy, they have a new thing. You have to pay $30 Australian to set up your store. It's honestly nothing too crazy, to be honest. Etsy just want to make money, I guess. With Shopify, it's a lot more. So, $30 isn't the worst. So get started. Now, all of this, what brings you to Etsy, this doesn't really matter. You can just click anything, but I'd like to, get started with selling for the first time ever. Let's answer some of these questions. Really doesn't matter, whatever you click. Okay, for the shop preferences, what you want to do is obviously your shop language, wherever you are, you want it to be English. Whichever country you are, I'm guessing you're in Australia, maybe the US, wherever. You want to click your country and then whatever currency you want to be using. So for me, Australia and then Australian dollar, save and continue. Now you want to be naming your shop. So if you have a name in mind already, that's cool. But I like to just use, ChatGPT or some sort of AI thing to just create me a name. It doesn't really matter. You kind of want the name to be, in the same niche that you're selling in. So if you have, Decorama or like home decor or something, and then you're selling pet products or whatever, it just doesn't really make sense. So you kind of want to be niching down your name to whatever niche you're selling in. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I would like to pick something broad. So it's, if you want to switch niches in the future or whatever, you can totally do that. So I've gone ahead with Susan Decor Design. It's super simple. So click save. Now tell us about your listing. All right guys, so now we are up to tell us about your listing. Pretty much this sounds quite strange, but your first listing doesn't really matter. You need a listing to be able to create an Etsy seller account. I know it's a bit strange. Your first listing can be literally anything. I like to just take a piece of like a photo of maybe a t-shirt or whatever, and just post that as my first listing. You can deactivate it later as well. So yeah, it really doesn't matter what you post. But for category, you just want to do t-shirts. It's a physical item, not a digital file. Who made it? I did. What is it? A finished product. And then when did you make it? You want to be doing 2020 to 2025. And with this one, you can just say it's made from scratch, handheld, save and continue. So for the title, you can just put t-shirt. For the photos and videos, I'll put the photo of the t-shirt that I took earlier today, just like a photo of my t-shirt. There we go. And then dismiss. For the description, you just want to put white t-shirt, something simple. It really doesn't matter. Your first listing will be taking it down anyways. For the price, whatever you want the price to be. You always want to put quantity as 9, so it shows up as low stock on Etsy. But obviously with this listing, it doesn't really matter, but for future reference, that's what you want to be doing. Variations, don't need that. For the shipping options, you want to create a shipping option. So from Australia, wherever you're from, postcode. So for the processing time, really doesn't matter, 5 to 7 days or whatever. Handling fee, just put $10. So you want to save that profile as the shipping option. So now you have the shipping option done, the returns and exchanges, apply that policy, and then save. Now you have your first listing done. Obviously we'll take it down later. You want to click do this later. And now how you'll get paid. For tax purposes, you want to be putting individual or a sole trader. So you can fill in all this information about yourself. It'll ask for your bank information, your date of birth, country of residence, your address, etc. And then once all this is filled in, we'll go to the next step. Always add your bank information as your name as well. There's no mismatching because Etsy will definitely ban accounts with mismatching. So make sure everything is correct and then save and continue. So now Etsy will ask to verify your identity. It's going to ask you to do a persona. It's super simple. You just show your face on the camera. So you want to click automatic, not manual, and then begin verifying. So first you will need your government ID, whether it's your passport or your driver's license. Pretty simple. You take a photo, upload it to Etsy. Alright guys, welcome back. So after your persona has been finished, your identity should be verified. Alright guys, so it should take you to this page where it says share your billing info. So it's super important. You want to be using your card. Everything should be matching. So yeah, your billing address. You don't need to worry about your ABN as you're a sole trader at the moment. So yeah, put this in. And then after you put this in, you want to click review, setup, and fee. And then now the final step of setting up your Etsy store, you want to be doing two-factor authentication. So if you've never done this before, it's super simple. You want to download the app Google Authenticator on your phone and basically just put in the authentication code from Google onto this. Okay, so after you put in the 6-digit code from your Google Authenticator, it should take you to this page where it says you're all set. Now, Etsy's going to give you some backup codes. I highly suggest you save them to your device. It doesn't really matter, but I like to save them anyways. And then now all you have to do is click Create Shop on the bottom right-hand corner. It's going to ask you to do some verification. And now your Etsy seller account should finally be set up. Okay, everybody. So now that the store has been created, you don't want it just blank and a boring store, right? You want to make it look like a legitimate brand. So now we get to the store design. So this is the fun part of creating your Etsy store. So what I want you guys to do is go to canva.com. So Canva is basically an app where they make logos for you using AI. You can design your store using Canva. It's personally one of my favorite apps that I use for my business. So yep, go to canva.com. All right, everyone. So once you get to Canva, you want to go on the left bar and go to templates. So with Canva, they provide a lot of templates for logos. And in the search bar here, you just want to search logo. They'll give you unlimited options for logos that you can use for your Etsy store. Now we want to pick a logo, something simple, something eye-catching, not too complicated, and it kind of fits the niche that you're selling in. So I have decided to go with this template. So you just click on it, customize this template. I think this template's really good. It's simplistic, it's nothing too crazy, and it fits the vibe of the niche that we're gonna be selling in. You can just play around with the logo and make it how you like. So this is the finished product of our logo. So Susan Decor Design on the bottom, and then SD in the middle. Now you just wanna click share, download, and you can download this logo to your laptop and then put it on your Etsy store. So now you have a logo for your Etsy store. What you wanna do is you wanna go back onto Canva templates and then search Etsy banner. And here, it will give you a bunch of options that you can use for your Etsy banner. So pretty much an Etsy banner goes at the top of your Etsy store. So I'm just gonna pick one of these templates. I think this template looks really nice. So yeah, we're gonna be going through with this one, changing some of the images and the text. So this is the finished product of our Etsy banner, guys. It looks really good, super simplistic, nothing too crazy. It literally took me 2 minutes to build. Now what you can do as well, also, if you go to elements, you can actually search up, whatever photos you're looking for, and Canva has some really great photos you can use to put in your banner or to put in your logo or whatever you want to use it for. So yeah, I highly recommend using that. So now what you want to do, guys, is just obviously share and then download the image and then put it into your Etsy store. All right, guys, so this is how our current store is looking at the moment. Honestly, it's looking really good. Everything's super nice, super clean, looks professional. And now we want to do the final finishing touches. So firstly, you want to be adding a shop title. So, describing your shop in just one sentence. It can be super quick, super easy. You can use ChatGPT for this, which is what I use most of the time. You want to set a location as well. You also want to be adding a shop announcement. So it could be like 30% off sale, ending soon, end of season sale, whatever it may be. If you scroll down here, there's a lot more things to add to your store to make it look professional. You can, add a custom video of the store, add a story headline, add your own story. You can add shop members to your store as well. These aren't all necessary, but I highly recommend doing them just so, it builds that trust with the buyer. So yeah, we'll go through all of this together once all of this is filled in. All right, guys, so welcome back. A little bit of change in scenery in the background. We have to move places and stuff. And yeah, we ran out of storage on the camera. But anyways, we're back. And as you can see, I got a haircut, but more importantly, so now we're gonna be setting up the store policies. So basically, if you go onto Etsy, go to your shop manager, which is on the top right. So click shop manager. This will take you to your Etsy shop. And now what you wanna do is go on the left-hand corner down the bottom, as you can see here, and you click settings. Down, when you click on the settings, you have policy settings. So you wanna click policy settings. And this will take you to where your store policy is. And pretty much what you want to do is change this to 14 days of delivery instead of 30. Yeah, so 14 days is pretty much the sweet spot. We found this out through a lot of testing. So yeah, and then after you do that, just click save and apply. So guys, that's pretty much it for now. Your store is looking really real. It's looking professional. A lot of customers are going to want to buy from your store. It's not perfect at the moment, but we can, refine and perfect the store later on, but it's super important to just move with speed and get all of this done through super quick. So now we'll be talking about niche research. So pretty much what is a niche? So if you guys haven't heard the term niche before, a niche is pretty much a specific category or a specific style that your store focuses on. For example, jewelry is a category, and then under jewelry you have, gothic jewelry, minimalistic jewelry, Y2K jewelry, for example, and that's pretty much a niche under the category. Having a super focused niche will give your store, some identity. It'll improve your conversions and Etsy's algorithm will love you. So pretty much, I want you guys to think about it this way. For example, if you walk into, let's say, a pet shop, in the pet shop, they sell a bunch of different random things. For example, home decor or clothing or whatever it may be. And they also sell, pet stuff as well. You're going to be a little bit confused, right? And you're probably not going to buy from that store because that store isn't tailored to that one specific niche. Where, for example, if you walk into a pet store, they only sell pet products. They have expertise in that one singular niche. So because of the high perceived value, you're more likely to buy from that store. So 4 key points of why you should be running a niche store is, so firstly, buyers trust stores that look specialized. Your listings will look a lot more consistent. Etsy will understand your store's category better, which helps with algorithm and ranking. And you can scale a lot faster by dominating one product type. So this is a non-negotiable, guys. Don't create a general store. It just doesn't really work as well on Etsy. So now let's dive into how to choose a niche store, or which niche should you choose for your store. So you don't need to really overthink this. You know, it's your first store. Your goal is to just start getting some momentum. So here's how to pick. So firstly, what I want you guys to do is go onto Etsy.com and just browse around on Etsy.com, just like you're a shopper. And you really want to see, you know, what kind of products Etsy are pushing at the moment. So I guess trending products, whatever comes up on the front page, because, you know, they don't do that for, you know, no reason, obviously. All these products that they're pushing at the moment, they work. So they're doing super well. You can go into, you know, home favorites. You know, as you can see here, they're pushing a lot of, you know, outdoor decor as well for your home. I know that's a very good niche, and personally, I know some people that have done very good numbers with outdoor decor. A lot of the products they're pushing is also in fashion. So fashion is also a very good niche. You know, you can see a lot of products in the home decor as Etsy's picks, which means, you know, obviously they're doing well. So something like this. If they also have a bestseller badge on the top left-hand corner, that means the product is also selling very well. Now, here are some of the products that you should definitely be avoiding when you're starting out. So, fully personalized items, as you know, you just can't dropship them very well. Handmade or one-of-a-kind products also, because, you know, it's impossible to dropship them because you have to make them by hand. Digital products as well, I would personally avoid them. And print-on-demand products. So print-on-demand is a complete different business model to, you know, dropshipping. So I would avoid those types of products as well. So some great niche ideas work super well for your first store is minimalistic jewelry, wall art, kitchen and dining, home organization or storage, bedding or cozy decor, and fashion accessories, especially targeted towards women. Lounge and sleepwear also work super well on Etsy, especially in the winter months. I don't want you guys to, you know, overthink it. If you're still stuck deciding, just pick a niche and just go with it. It's super important to, you know, just take action. Nothing has to be perfect in the beginning, you know, so don't spend hours trying to pick the perfect niche when you're starting out. Just pick one, stick to it, and basically just move with speed. So now we've chosen a niche. Now this is the most important part of Etsy dropshipping. It's pretty much picking a product. So we're gonna give you 3 proven methods to find winning Etsy dropshipping products. So here are the 3 methods that I use. So here are the 3 research methods that I use. Personally find products that, you know, that already sell well, they're super easy to outsource, and they can be profitably dropshipped. Method number 1 is called the bestseller method. So what I want you guys to do is go back onto Etsy.com and then type in your niche, for example, women's clothing. So after you've searched for women's clothing, what you want to do is go onto all filters on the top left-hand corner, click all filters, scroll down to star seller. So here it is, star seller, and you want to click on star seller. So this will pretty much give you all of the Etsy star sellers which are selling products at the moment. So now if you go onto the URL of the website, you want to go to star, as you can see here, and you want to replace star with best seller. Click enter. And now pretty much what this does is it forces Etsy to, you know, show you all of the best selling products instead of the star sellers. So guys, a little tip with product research on Etsy. The first row is usually, you know, just ads. So you want to be skipping the first row always, and then you want to be starting from the second row. Now, as you can see, all of these products are super popular right now. They're trending, they're selling very well. So yeah, these are pretty much the best selling products in the past 6 months on Etsy in that specific niche. Now, what I want you guys to do is click on a product that catches your eye. For example, something a little unique or something that's just selling super well. For example, I'll go with this. And now you want to be using a Chrome extension. It's called Search by Image on AliExpress. So I'll show you guys how to download that to your Chrome extension now. So pretty much this is the Chrome extension. It's called AliExpress Search by Image. So what I want you guys to do is just download it. And now what this allows you to do is basically reverse search the image of the product that's selling super well. And you can see if it's listed on AliExpress. All right guys, so we have the product here. Now what I want you to do is go back onto the listing, right click, and then search goods on AliExpress by this image. And pretty much this will show you if the product is on AliExpress. And as you can see here, there's the exact same product listed on AliExpress. So as you can see here, if you go onto AliExpress, you can obviously see the exact same product that they have listed for around $9, $9.32. So super cheap. They're selling it for around $50 Australian, which means they'll take home around $40 in profit per sale. So pretty much what you're looking for is, the exact same product or something super similar also works with reasonable supplier pricing, which means you can have, profit margins if you do sell the product, and also decent shipping time on AliExpress. So now this takes us to our second method, which is the review method. So what I want you guys to do is go onto Etsy again and search, a niche, for example, home decor. Now, what I want you guys to do is go down to filters, and then you can click on the price. So the minimum price, you can select it, and you want to put, $30 in Australian. Now, this is a British store, so it's in pounds. So I'll put 15, and then click apply, and then show results. So once you've done that, as you can see, all these products are listed above, the £15 or $30 Australian range. The reason why we do that is because we want to keep our profit margins pretty high. Any product that sells that's less than $30, the profit margins are pretty slim. So that's what we want to be avoiding when we're listing a product. Now open a listing that you see that, catches your attention or catches your eye. So let's scroll down. I think something like this is super interesting. So it says it's an organic chunky bowl where you can, put your jewelry and stuff. So now what you guys can do is, scroll down and, basically look for a listing that catches your eye or catches your attention. I think this listing is super unique. So now this is where the reviews come in. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see the reviews for this item. And as you can see, if you go suggested and then most recent, it'll give you the most recent reviews of this listing. So the KPIs that I look for, the key performing indicators, is if there are at least 3 to 5 recent reviews, so within the last 30 days, it means the product is selling very well. So as you can see here, there was a review for this product on the 16th of June, on the 15th, on the 13th, which means this product is selling very well. Of the product research methods, so it is just using your common sense, your intuition, and it's called the explorer's mindset. So if a product looks like, it's giftable, you can decorate your home with it, it's a trending product that you can wear and post online, or, it looks super comfortable and stylish, that is a product that you should be selling. You can spend some time researching on the Etsy's platform, and you can get a really good grasp of what kind of products are selling at the moment, what kind of products don't sell. Follow your curiosity and ask yourself, does this look drop shippable? Would I personally buy this for someone? Or, could this easily be shipped? I wouldn't highly recommend this product research method, especially if you're just starting out or if you're a beginner. But, once you have a week or two of experience doing product research on Etsy, then I would look into products like this and, using your common sense. So my advice on product research is, don't overanalyze. Nothing has to be perfect when you're beginning. It's important to test a lot of products in the beginning to see what works. So, I personally recommend to pick 3 to 5 products to begin with, which is in your niche, and validate them and see if they start selling. So next we are diving into how to do a product listing and how to optimize for SEO, so search engine optimization. So when you're uploading a product to Etsy, we're gonna be handling the 6 key things that I look for, which is the product images, the title, the description, tags, variants such as colors and sizes, and the shipping profile. So I'm literally going to be giving you guys the method, and I'm going to be taking you through step by step on how to do the product listing. So for the product images, what you guys want to be using is called AliSave, download AliExpress images and videos. I'll link it down in the description. It's just a Chrome extension pretty much, and you can just add it to your Chrome profile. And what this allows you to do is download images at the highest quality possible off AliExpress. So now that's downloaded, as you can see, you can have the main images, the description images, and pretty much all of the images for this product you can download through AliSave. So yeah, just click on main images and description images, and there you go, you have your photos. So now what you guys can do is upload the photos to your editing software. I personally use Canva. I think Canva is literally the best app for editing. You can also use stuff like Photo Room as well, which I've used in the past. Photo Room works great. Now, if you go onto Canva, you have the product image here. There's a lot of things you can do actually. The 2 main things that I recommend to do is firstly, remove the watermark if it was sent from your supplier. And you can replace that by adding your own watermark, so the name of your store, to the image of the product. One of the most important things to do also is change up the background. So what you can do is Canva has a really good AI system where they can change your backgrounds or generate you a new one. So what you can do is click on the image, click edit on the top left, and then in here, you click background generator. So it says BG generator here. You can click that, describe a new background. So, we want a background for home decor. So you can just say home decor background, click generate, and it'll generate you 4 images that you can use for your photo. Now, here are the 4 images Canva AI has created, which we can use in our background of this photo. So we have this one looks okay. It looks a little bit fake. This one is super simple. I also like this as well. And this one looks okay. It looks a little AI. So yeah, we can go something as super simple as this. It looks legit, it looks professional, and the quality is much higher than the old background. So now we can click done, and there you have it. You have one of the images that you can use for your listing. Now keep in mind, guys, also the first image is the most important image for your listing. So you want the first image to stand out, obviously. You want it to look super professional, super clean and minimalistic, and you really want to have the item pop in the photo. Another tip with editing photo images is you can always use an image upscaler, which Canva has. So if you go onto the bottom left bar, go scroll all the way down to apps, you can search in the app image upscaler. Click on this one, as this one is really good. And pretty much what this allows you to do is to upscale the image. So it looks a lot more high quality if the one from AliExpress isn't as high quality. So this is also optional as well, but I think it makes it look super professional. You can actually add your logo to the photo. So if you have the image of your logo, you can remove the background and then you can just place it in the bottom right-hand corner, make it a little smaller. And there we go. That is the product listing photos done. So for each listing, you want to be aiming for around 3 to 5 images minimum. The more images, the better, to be honest. You want to be showing different variations, different angles of the product, a sizing chart if relevant. So let's go through the listing together. So it's first going to ask you what kind of item is it. Now I'm going to be listing a home decor. It's pretty much a vase. So click vase and then continue. And then next, tell us about your listing. So it's a physical item, not a digital. Who made it? I made it. What is it? A finished product. And then when was it made? So you want to be putting 2020 to 2025. How does your shop produce this item? Just say it's made from scratch. And then what tools are used to make this item? Handheld or hand-guided tools. And then you can click continue. Now it will take you to this page. This is pretty much the page where you do the listings. So for the title, this is what title I use. So this is an example title that I would use in this listing. So ceramic hands flower vase, unique hand-holding flower home decor vase, modern fresh flower vase gift for her. So this hits on pretty much all of the keywords and then the synonyms as well, and then long tail phrases pretty much towards the end. So now you want to be adding your product photos. So, around at least 5 images as possible. I'm just going to do 1 because I can't be bothered to do the rest. So now that the photo image is uploaded, you want to scroll down to the description. So now moving on to the description of the listing. So pretty much here's a simple layout that I recommend that I use on all of my listings. So on the first line, what you want to be doing is repeating the title. So you just copy and paste the title on the first line. And then on the second line, you want to be, having a size chart, or having a size chart only if you're selling, clothing or if it's wearable. In line 3, you want to be adding a description of what's included in the product. Line 4, an SEO description. So this is quite a long description, around 1 to 2 paragraphs if possible. And then finally on line 5, you want to be listing materials or pretty much a selling point for the product. Just think to yourself, guys, like what question would a nervous buyer ask? Also a key tip for descriptions is, use a lot of emojis, guys. Don't be afraid to use, any sort of emojis in your listings, as a lot of Etsy moms they like to see emojis in the descriptions and stuff. So yeah, don't forget that. So yeah, guys, that is the description finished. So this is pretty much what it should look like. Nothing too crazy. So you have the title at the top here, and then obviously the color or the material or the size, depending on what you're selling. So I have 3 of those there. Ready to ship, enjoy free insurance shipping, 30-day money back guarantee. Oh, sorry, we need to change this to 14. Sorry. And then, just a little description, like 1 to 2 paragraphs long of what the product is. So yeah, there we go. You can just use ChatGPT if you want to. and then a little bit of, urgency or like call to action towards the end, and then that's pretty much it. Don't overcomplicate it, very simple. So for your pricing point on Etsy, you always want to have a 3 to 4x margin for your COGS. So if I buy this product for, let's say, $20 AUD, you want to be selling it for at least $60. So for this price, I would put $59.95. For pretty pricing, I always recommend to put 0.95 towards the end. So for the quantity, you always want to put 9 as it shows up as low stock on Etsy. For the variations, you can put your variations here. I obviously don't have any variations for this vase, so I'll skip this one. Physical item, categories. This is just a bunch of stuff that you can also fill in as well. Most importantly, for the tags and the materials, you want to be using up all 13 tags that you have available. Okay guys, so I've filled up all the tags. So ceramic, hands flower vase, home decor vase, you get the point. So make sure to just hit on the keywords. And then for the material, you only have to do the material that the product is made from. So here I put resin. So for the delivery option, you want to click create new option. Now it's fairly simple. What I recommend is just to put your own postcode, never the supplier's postcode. For the processing time, I recommend 7 to 10 days. And for the delivery time, I would set 2 to 3 weeks. It's also super important to make your shipping free. It's more enticing for the customers and they're more inclined to buy if you offer free worldwide shipping. So finally, for the shop selection, you can actually add a new section to it. For example, I'm selling a vase, so you can put this in vase. Save, and for the renewal options, you want to put it as automatic as well, and then hit publish. So now you have your first listing published. Here are some pro tips that I recommend for listing products on Etsy. So you always want to list 1 new product per day. Etsy loves, new fresh listings. So make sure to be listing 1 listing per day on each store. Spend no more than 20 minutes per product once you get used to the process. And the first image is a thumbnail. So your hook, so treat it like an ad. Make sure your first image is super enticing for the customer so they're more inclined to buy the product. So now that your store is live and your products are listed, let's actually talk about how to get sales. So the goal of an Etsy store is to pretty much gain momentum. So Etsy will reward stores that make sales. The more sales and reviews you have, the more Etsy will organically promote your listings. So our number 1 goal right now is to not make some crazy amount of profit, but it's to generate momentum. So this includes, getting your first 50 orders, getting 5-star reviews, building Etsy's trust, and once you have the momentum, Etsy will start pushing your listings higher and higher into the search results, which leads to more sales. So if you guys didn't know, Etsy has its own internal ads platform, so you can set a daily budget and Etsy promotes your listings in the search results. Personally, I wouldn't recommend with starting an ad budget on Etsy. I would see after a couple of weeks what kind of products are starting to get sales, which kind of products are doing well or not, and I'd pick and choose the right products to start getting ads on. But for now, as a beginner, you don't need to run ads on the platform. However, if you are interested in running ads for your listings, what you can do is you go to marketing on the left-hand corner, click the arrow, and then you can click Etsy ads. And in here, this is where you can run ads for your listings. You can set your daily budget to, $5 a day even, but I would only recommend running ads for only 10 products at a time. So this is the budget strategy that we use for our ads on Etsy. So you can start at $5 a day. As you get data, you can spend the full amount. So you want to be slowly increasing from $5 a day to $10, $15, $20, and just gradually exponentially grow. Raise your budget when it's only being spent daily. Etsy only charges you when someone clicks on your ad, so your money is used efficiently. Now for the product selection of your ads, Etsy lets you choose which listings are being advertised. So stick to these rules. At $5 a day, you don't want to advertise more than 10 products, which means each product has 50 cents of ad spend every single day. So here are the rules that I use for pretty much optimization for my Etsy listings. So we only judge a product at 2 performance points. So the first check is after $3 in ad spend. If the CTR, the click-through rate, is 1% or higher, keep it running. If the CTR is below 1%, turn it off as the metrics are not looking good. So the check 2 is after $12 to $15 in ad spend. If the product has at least 1 sale, keep it running. If no sales, by $15, turn it off because the product's just ass. So this is optional. This is quite advanced, so I definitely wouldn't recommend for beginners. But at $20 to $30 in ad spend, start looking at the ROAS, which is the return on ad spend. So the ROAS means return on ad spend. So for example, if I put $10 in ad spend and if I get $20 back, that's a 2 ROAS. Now for Etsy, you want to be looking at a 2 to 4 ROAS for each product listing. And if it's anything below 2, just cut it. So now let's dive into why this works so well. Running ads on Etsy is like basically paying to be at the front of the store. So once you get your first orders and reviews, Etsy will start ranking your listings organically, and then you can start getting free traffic without ads. This method, however, is not about maximizing profits from day one. It's about showing Etsy that I'm serious, I'm bringing in traffic, and my product is converting, and that's how you win on the long term. So final tips for this, I would say, is to focus on testing good products with clean listings, follow the budget and optimization rules. Think of ads as a way to just buy momentum. And once your store is running, then you can scale. So you've made your first sale. That's amazing. But now let's talk about how to actually fulfill that order. So when you make a sale on Etsy, you're not actually, shipping the order yourself. You're a marketer, not a manufacturer. Your job is to list the product, make it look good, and bring in the sale. So once the order comes in, it is your job to send that order to the supplier and have them ship it to the customer. That's dropshipping in action. So there are two main ways to fulfill an order on Etsy. So the first option is the manual fulfillment method. So using AliExpress or CJ dropshipping, which is the beginner-friendly method. So for your first 5 to 10 orders, this is pretty much what I recommend. So if you go onto aliexpress.com, search for the exact product that you've sold on Etsy, click buy now, and then at the checkout, paste in your customer's address for the delivery details. And you can also add a note to the supplier saying, this is a dropship order, please do not include invoices or promotional material. Now the pros to this is super simple, there's no setup, and it's pretty good for beginners. But the cons to this are manually typing in information for every single order you receive. There's no automation, and sometimes you have nightmare with situations where AliExpress supplier doesn't actually ship the order, which puts your store at risk for the customers. So option 2 is pretty much you can get a private agent fulfillment, so a private supplier. And this second method is best for lowering costs, better shipping speeds, credit terms, improved product quality. And a private agent is a real person in China who hands your fulfillment one-on-one. They'll pretty much take care of all of the fulfillment and the shipping. They'll buy your products on your behalf, handle the shipping, and sometimes in good scenarios, they can give you a net 7 or net 14, which pretty much means you pay only after they deliver the product. Now, I recommend using an agent if you're doing, consistent sales, maybe 20 plus orders a week. And in our program, we actually provide everyone with a private supplier, which they can use to fulfill their orders. So if you want a private supplier, you can DM me on Instagram. I'll link it down below in the description, and I'll introduce you to one of my personal private suppliers that I use. All right, guys, so this is the outro of the video. So if you've made it this far, you're already ahead of 99% of people who want to start a real business but never take action. So this is your complete beginner's guide on how to dropship on Etsy. And now you know how to set up your store, find profitable niches, list winning products, run Etsy ads, and fulfill your orders with confidence. But here's the thing, this is just the beginning. There are a lot of more advanced strategies that we didn't cover in this free training guide, such as in-depth product testing methods, pricing psychology for higher margins, bulk order systems with agents, smart upsells and repeat customer tactics, product research frameworks that you can't really find on YouTube. So if you're ready to go beyond the basics and build a real business that you can scale to the moon, then click in the link in the description down below and apply to work with me directly in the Easy Etsy program. So inside the program, you will get step-by-step training, access to our private community, my personal help when you get stuck with anything, weekly group calls, and the ability to meet up in person in real events with me and other successful students. So if you're not completely ready yet, that's perfectly fine. You can still follow me on the Easy Etsy Instagram. I'm posting there pretty much every single day, answering questions, giving more nuggets, and just giving you guys free games, so make sure to follow that. So whether you're all in or just getting started with Etsy dropshipping, you can either join my mentorship if you're serious, or follow my Instagram if you're curious. So either way, thank you so much guys for watching. If you got a ton of value from this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and share this video with someone who's stuck in a job that they hate, as this could change their life as well. So personally, I'm gonna be posting a lot more content on the YouTube channel, so give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.